welcome to Color Splash. This is Rachel Miller here in Columbus, Ohio, and a gorgeous Labor Day weekend. So I've taken like a 6-month hiatus from painting, and I suddenly feel like I've forgotten everything I've learned over the past 2 years, which is a crappy feeling. And before I jump into doing a large painting, I thought I had better start with some tiles. So I've done 2 so far. One's turned out really cool. The other one, wah wah. So I figured I better do a third before I jump into a big canvas. So I'm putting down my base, and I am not using just a regular white. I am using my Pearl Mix. And that means that this paint has satin enamel in it as well as acrylic paint with Floetrol and GAC 800 and Liquitex pouring medium. I will put my recipe in the description, but I found you get some really cool cells when you do a blowout using this Pearl Mix. So I'm gonna put a little bit extra in the center because I'm going to be concentrating my color here. So I'm gonna do kind of a flower shape, so sort of in the center. You'll see in a moment. I'm gonna start with my favorite color, which is Arteza Payne's Gray. And I'm just kind of doing a loose, really crappy flower in the center. It doesn't have to be pretty. I'm just trying to spread the color out a little bit. Then I'm gonna follow with a little bit of Amsterdam turquoise green. I'm going to try to work faster this time around. Next, I'm going to go with a Pebeo. I'm going to try to tilt this a little bit. Center it a little bit more. And I'll compensate by adding a little bit more Pearl Mix over here. Kind of did not center that very well. My bad. Okay, I feel a lot better about this. Okay, now Pebeo Cobalt. You know, this doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just trying to get an interesting array of colors. That Pebeo Cobalt goes a long way with that. I'm gonna actually put my, I'm gonna shim this a little bit. It keeps wanting to slide backwards. So I'm gonna shim this a little bit. No sense. Okay, this is a bit of 24 karat gold. It is a little bit of extreme sheen and a little bit of deco art. Not using a whole lot. Then I'm going to use a Pebeo Naples Yellow. I'm going to go back to my Payne's Gray. Then I'm going to do a little bit of sky blue. little bit of Persian rose. A little bit of red violet. I'm starting to lose paint, so I'm gonna go much faster. And then a little bit of my vermilion orange. And a little bit of the turquoise green. And then I'm just gonna give a little couple few dots of this cadmium yellow medium hue by Liquitex. You know what I haven't used is my bronze color. Maybe I'll just do a little tiny bit of that. Okay. Oh, can't forget my magenta. May as well throw 20 colors in here. Okie dokie. So next I'm going to take my cell activator, which is Amsterdam Lamp Black mixed with Australian Floetrol, and I'm just going to create a center. I feel like I always want to put down more than what is actually necessary, so I'm going to try to do better with that this time. Oops. Okie dokie. Next, I'm gonna grab my little blow dryer, and on, I think, the low setting, cool, I'm gonna start by kind of blowing straight down and widening out the black a little bit. Okay, now I'm just gonna blow out in every direction. And the tile is gonna initially look just black. But I promise you, really cool cells are gonna pop up. Alrighty. Now we have to be patient and give it a second. I kind of missed a corner here, so I'm gonna blow that out. I think I'm gonna blow this just one more moment. Okay. Now it always takes a few minutes for these cells to develop. They start on the outside and work their way inward. I'm getting some beautiful pearl cells though. I kind of call these my black hole paintings because I end up with a very dark center and an explosion of cells 360 degrees all the way around. I'm just going to kind of help this guy along for the sake of time. So being patient with this is kind of torturous for me. I can see some pretty things popping up, but I want them to show up faster, faster, faster. I I definitely probably put a little bit of too much cell activator on there. You know, it's the one part of this I have a hard time judging. It's either too much or too little, but when I do get it right, it is pretty doggone spectacular. I can see this is closing in more and more. It's just the waiting time. But you can see these corners are growing inwards. I think it's going to be really beautiful when it's done. And I really do like having a lot of negative space within the pearl cells going all the way around. I think it's a really cool look, especially for such a small tile. Too much busyness on a tile kind of drives me nuts. I mean, I like some that are really bright, bold, and busy, but I like some that are a little bit softer. There's definitely a specific place to put your wine glass when you're done with on these. Let's see. This is like the best thing to be doing on a beautiful Labor Day weekend. I was gone for so long. I had to have a friggin' couple of little surgeries on my mouth, which made it very difficult to talk. Tell you what, researcher dentist, I had very small dental thing go awry that turned into an absolute friggin' catastrophe, but it's all good now. Okay, this is really growing in beautifully. I want to take my phone out of this contraption here to give you a closer look without accidentally shutting off the record button. There we go. Which I've been known to do. Okay, focus, focus. Why won't this focus? There we go. So you can see I've got all these little cells filling in. Look at how rainbow colored. This phone doesn't want to respond to my gloved hand. Look at these teensy tiny little rainbow cells coming in. Some really, really pretty pearl cells. And I kind of like the combination of some more black and white and then some bright pops of color. Let me take off one of my gloves so my phone will behave and listen to me. Okay, I apologize. I clearly am not the world's greatest videographer. Come on, phone. See how pretty those little tiny cells are. Kind of amazing, actually. But this is going to probably be a real beauty by the time it fills in. And then all along the sides, I've got beautiful cells. I particularly like this little area. Come on, phone, why won't you focus for me? Aha. There we go. Got some really cool lacing and pearl cells. You know, I have to say, as much as I love the 24K paint, in this application, it can be a real hit or miss. It creates these weird little halos, and sometimes, let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. For Pete's sakes. This little area right here, you can see the gold. It kind of creates this almost translucent outer shell around the color. Sometimes it works out, but I don't think it looks as crisp and nice as like these cells do. So I'm probably going to avoid using the 24K in my next tile, or at least go much lighter on it. I think the cobalt blue turned out amazing though. And these little cells, I cannot believe all the colors I'm seeing in these tiny little cells. I hope they grow bigger. I mean, they're really quite cool. Let's see what happens if I torch this a little bit. Whoop. I kind of got a weird texturing there when I torched it, so I'm gonna hold back. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you stick around for my next video. I'm gonna make quite a few today. A couple more tiles, and then I'm gonna go for the gusto and try and do a giant one of these. We'll see how that goes. Thanks again. This is Rachel Miller with Color Splash.